Hey girl, hey, welcome back to an episode of the Hey Girl, Hey podcast. I'm your host, Tracey Chanell, and we're back with another special guest, my friend, Dr. Inga Parker. Inga Parker is the founder of Ignite with Inga Parker. She's an AI consultant and coach, speaker, and author, and I'm excited for what she's going to share with us today. So go ahead, message a friend, tell them to chime in so that they can hear this phenomenal message, so many nuggets that she's going to share with us. So let's get ready. Dr. Parker, I'd like to welcome you and thank you again for being a part of the Hey Girl, Hey podcast.
Hey, thank you for having me. I appreciate being here today.
If you could go ahead and introduce yourself, who you are. Well, I've just done that, but if you could tell us who you are, what you do, and something we can look forward to in this episode.
Okay, awesome. Well, again, my name is Dr. Inga Parker. I am a former educator of 25 years. I recently turned in my badge and keys on June
Woo.
5th.
All
So,
right.
just a little over a month, a day and a month ago. And so, I just decided to take a chance on myself, right? And so, I co founded a business called Parker Prime Solutions, and a collection within that business is Ignite with Inga Parker. And so that's my baby. That's where I am doing AI education, I'm doing coaching, consulting, I'm speaking, and I'm also doing professional development and workshops just to help people understand how to work smarter, not harder, using AI systems and tools. And so I'm just branching off full force into entrepreneurship, and I'm excited about this change. It's different from anything I've ever done before, but it's super exciting and it's been good so far. So I'm excited. Um I think for this episode you can look forward to conversations centered around believing in yourself, building confidence, knowing that you can do it, and also listening to that inner voice when it says that it's time to go.
That's really good. We've had conversations about AI. Yes, it's the buzz. We're hearing about it more and more, but it's not new. It's been around for
It's
years.
not.
Yeah. And so, can you just share with us how you got tapped into it to get to where you are right now?
Yes. It has been around, and a lot of things that we use that we didn't even realize were AI. Uber, for instance. We Uber all the time. Those
Mm.
that goes through AI systems to book the Uber. And so
Right.
it's things that we do every day. So it's not a scary thing. We do it not even knowing that, or we use it not even knowing that we use it. But I think the buzz is giving some people a little pause, like, whoa, these robots about to come over and take over the world.
Right.
It's not that. Um, I got tapped into it, and it's so, well, it's not so funny. God is amazing. I'll just
Yes,
say
he
that.
is. Yeah.
God is amazing, and his timing is always
Always
perfect.
perfect.
And so I knew once I got into this, I knew I had so many confirmations every time I would say, let me stay safe and stay where I am. I would
Yeah.
get another nudge, and then I would get uncomfortable again, and then I would try to draw back into that comfort zone. But this all began for me not even a year ago, in
Mm.
September. So in September, we had our fall break here in Georgia. We have fall break during September, which means we have a week off. And so I'm always signing up for master classes, always, on from social media, tapping into a master class or boot camp session that somebody's offering. And typically when I sign up for those, they are maybe an hour, 2 hours
Yeah.
long max. Well, this particular session was a boot camp, AI boot camp summit by Alicia Little, and I logged in at 10 o'clock that morning. Just so happened this was a day we were off. I logged in at 10 o'clock that morning, and I was on that call until after 8 o'clock that night. The
Wait a minute.
session,
Now that I didn't know.
yes, the
What?
session was literally all day long. At the time, my
Oh
son,
my
well, he
God.
still works there, but he's able to drive now. But at the time, I was driving him to his job in
Hmm.
Atlanta, and so I picked him up from home, listening to the summit. drove him to work, and since it's in Atlanta, I usually stay around, go to a restaurant, kind of hang out and do some work. This particular day, I was on this session. I went sat at these people restaurant for 5 hours.
I hope you ordered
Still,
something.
oh yeah,
Okay.
probably lunch and dinner. I sat there listening to the podcast, the summit, the entire time. When I picked him up from work, still had the summit playing. Got back home and it was still on. So I'm steady listening, taking notes, listening, taking notes.
Wow.
And in these calls they do upsells. And so it was the regular summit, and then the upsell, if you wanted to stay longer, was VIP. So it was so good. I wanted to stay longer.
Wow.
And the final offering at the end of the night was you could sign up for what she calls AI fuel profits. And this is what helps you organize and catapult your business.
Okay.
And so I signed up for that, and and it's self-paced. And so within a month I was done with that entire program. My business was started, up and running, had my LLC, had my EIN number. So from that one session, that one day in September 9th to be exact, September 9th was the beginning of it all.
Well, and it'll be a year before you know
Yes.
it. And I'm sure
Yep.
that time has gone by. And I was actually going to ask you what inspired you to transition into entrepreneurship, but you just said that.
Yeah.
A
It was the
session, an
inspiration.
all-day session, just like that.
Mhm. Mhm. And this was my 25th year in education, so I was contemplating early retirement. In Georgia
Hmm.
you can retire at 25 years. There is a penalty, but you can retire at 25 years.
Right.
And so I called TRS to see how much money they would take from my full benefits. It was
Hmm.
too much, so I was like, let me just resign and not retire
Hmm.
right now. But that option is still available. And so once my business takes off and starts booming, then hey, we might revisit that.
Yeah. And so even with that, what was the defining moment when you realized it was time to leave education and pursue your entrepreneurship full time? Because I know you
Okay,
were doing it part time,
part
you were
time.
still an administrator, but where did the shift start?
So for me, because education is so demanding and so time consuming, I couldn't work my business the way I wanted to work my business.
Hmm.
So my conversation with God was really like, Lord, I need to either do it or not do it. Like, if I
Right.
can't be all in, because AI is moving so fast,
So fast.
it's
Yeah.
almost like either now or never. You're going to get
Hmm.
in now, or you're going to be so far behind that, or everybody's going to already have such an awareness about it. Everybody's already going to be using it. Um, and so that was pretty much the defining moment or conversation for me, is now or never, because it's just, even though it's been around for a long time,
Right.
it's just now starting to buzz quite a
Right.
bit. And so I wanted to be on the front end of that buzz. And I still had, just in some of my market research and talking to friends, I still had a lot of people who were not using it at all. Like
Hmm.
they just, or, they're just dibbling and dabbling with Chat GPT and still using it like Google. But
And some of it too was fear. I know people I've
yeah.
spoken with, they were hesitant. I know a few
Mhm.
people said, I don't want AI knowing all of my business. And I'm thinking, they already know all your
You already
business.
know your business. Yep.
Yeah.
Uh, and
Wow.
so, yeah,
Go
it
ahead.
was kind of like that now or never for me.
Hmm.
And like I said, I received so many confirmations. Like every time I would think about, well, maybe not now, I would get a confirmation to say now is the time.
Right.
And just trying to work both of them, it's possible, but it's not good.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
I know. I've had conversations with friends that are doing other things as well, and one common thing in our conversation is that although we love what we do when it comes to teaching or being in education, it doesn't allow us to really
Mhm.
um, dive deep into what our passion is outside of
Yeah.
the classroom. So, did you
Yeah.
have any uncertainties when you were making the transition?
I did just because I like being comfortable. I like
Okay.
security. I enjoy knowing where my money is coming from and when it's coming.
Right.
And so that was the biggest uncertainty. It wasn't an uncertainty about doing the job because I've always said I wanted to do some type of coaching and consulting after retirement.
Mhm.
Like that was going to be my plan anyway.
Right.
In my mind, it was going to be educational consulting, but this just helps me to tie it all in and it gives me a little head start on what I was planning to do anyway. So
Hmm.
like my plan was always to coach and consult, be an educational consultant after retirement. That was kind of the direction I was heading in anyway. So it just tied into what I was naturally going to do, my next steps, my natural next steps. So this just
Yeah.
kind of mm-hmm,
Yeah. And I would love for you to share with everyone the smart systems of AI, exactly what you do. If you could give us a snippet of
hmm
what you do, how AI is used to better everyday life for people,
hmm
if you could
yeah,
share that.
sure. So there are several tools that can be used. And one thing that I tell my coaching clients is don't get bogged down in so many tools. I have a method, it's called the SIM method. And so I sat under the tutelage of the great Principal Patterson. And if anybody knows her, you know that she has a framework for everything. So I
Yeah.
naturally create frameworks after sitting under her.
Yeah.
Um, and so the SIM method is just a framework where we spot the friction, we identify the AI tool that will solve the problem, and
Hmm.
then we make a system for it. So that's the SIM method. And that's basically how I coach clients. You start with spotting your friction, and you don't want to spot a whole lot of frictions at one time. Spot one friction, find the AI tool, make it a system. Once that system is going good, you spot another friction. You find the AI tool for that. You make that a system. So now you have two systems, maybe automated, or they could be where AI sets the foundation. You go in and make a few tweaks. But what I like to say is if it's something that you do often, like if it's a repeated task, something that you have to do weekly, something that you do daily or even once a month, and you can make it a system because that frees up so much time. Think about those things that we spend 20 minutes on every single week. We don't want to spend those 20, we want to automate those systems so that we can get that time back and the system
Right.
is already automated for us. So those are some of the foundational steps that I go through with like my coaching clients.
Right. I know you shared also just in everyday life, sometimes people go back and
Mhm.
forth. What are we going to eat for dinner? Or I don't
Yes.
know. Can you share with us a tool that you shared, even when it comes down to simple things of everyday life, deciding on
Oh
what
yeah.
to eat and creating a
Mhm.
plan for that?
Absolutely. So ChatGPT and Claude is now my new favorite for now. But I said in another presentation the other day that I'm loyal to Chat, I guess because that's one of my characteristics,
Yeah.
loyalty. I started with Chat and so it's just hard to let her go. But Claude, and then when you think about the differences between the three, Chat GPT is like an agreeable uh large language model, LLM. And so if I just want to put something in and I want to know how to simplify it and make it work, I'm going to use ChatGPT. If I need somebody to challenge my thinking, or well, not somebody, but a tool
Right.
to
Right.
challenge my thinking, I'm going to use Claude. Claude will push back and say, nope, you might want to consider this instead of that.
I
And
can
so
attest to that.
yeah. When I think about everyday tasks like meal prepping or meal planning, it doesn't even have to be a prep, just plan so that you're
Hmm.
not going back and forth every day. What are we going to eat today? I don't know. What do we just put a plan into Chat GPT. This is what I have in my refrigerator.
Hmm.
Um, I don't want I had whatever chicken, whatever last night. I don't want that again, but I still have chicken. What can I make different with it? And so it will give you an entire plan of what to make that particular night. Or you can look at your fridge and say, these are all the things I have in my fridge. Make a meal plan for each
Mm-hmm.
day of the week.
That's
And
good.
so it'll do that. If you want it to stay under 1,500 calories or 1,200 calories, it will do that for you. And so it just takes the guesswork out of it. It takes the thought process out of it.
Yeah.
You just put in what you have, or I'm going to the grocery store, make a plan for the entire week, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Tell me what ingredients I need to pick up from the store to create those meals, and it will map it all out for you. And I often say we think about meal planning, and you don't think about a lot of how much time it really takes to think
Right,
about what you're
right.
having that day. But and it may not be a lot of time in that moment that day, but say you and your husband or me and my husband go back and forth. Well, what do you want? What do you want? I don't have to
Yeah.
taste for anything. What do you want? I mean, we could do that for 10 minutes and
Right.
nobody got to taste, but nobody making a decision. Like, and
Mm-hmm.
then 10 minutes times 7 days a week. There you go, your 70
Right.
minutes. And that's it adds that time adds up when you can already have your plan based on what an AI tool has given you.
Yeah, that's helpful too. I may mention educators a lot, especially with school
Oh yeah.
teachers still returning to school. What suggestions could you offer to teachers heading back to school, and not necessarily meal planning and preparation, but
Hmm.
as we prepare to head back? A lot of teachers are thinking about room arrangement, lesson plans, small group plans. They're going to have meetings, and
Yeah.
so after having a month and a half to refresh our minds and our bodies, truth be told, we're going to jump right back into that routine. But AI, can it be helpful for teachers returning back to school? And in what way? I know there are many ways, but is there one way you would suggest to kind of help ease our way back into school?
Absolutely. Absolutely. So a couple of things actually. You mentioned room arrangement. If you take a picture of your classroom and take a picture of your decor, what you have to decorate your class, put those into Chat GPT, it will give you a layout of how you can arrange your room.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then
Wow.
if you don't like that arrangement, you can say, not really satisfied with this, tweak it and rearrange it again. And it will do
Mhm.
just that. And whereas we got to think about it for 30 or 40 minutes, should I put this over here, this over here? It'll, it'll give you a couple of different images in seconds, in
Yeah.
seconds. And so that takes some of the guesswork out of that. In terms of, we have all those um, documents that we have to prepare at the beginning of the year, our welcome letter to
Hmm.
introduce ourselves to our parents. Type in a few bullet points about yourself to ChatGPT or Claude and say, hey, I'm a second grade teacher welcoming my new students to my classroom. Here are a few things about me, and just type some things that you like, that you want your students to know about you, and welcome, and put that into ChatGPT, and it will formulate your welcome back letter. Just that simple. You're just typing a few bullet points, and actually the more you use it, the better it knows you. And so, for instance, if I was to go in and say, hey, I'm going in to speak to this organization, type up a few notes about me so that I can introduce
Hmm.
myself, or create a letter so that I can introduce myself to the
Yeah.
organization,
Yeah.
it would do that based on the memory that it has. So the more you use it, the more it remembers you, and the less prompting you have to do for it to get to know you. So those are a couple of ways. In terms of lesson planning, we used it quite a bit last year for our small group lesson plans in
Hmm.
particular, just because we planned as a grade level. Well, we used it for whole group too, but more so when you're looking at those specific needs of your students, you can say, hey, I have a student who is having difficulties with long vowel sounds. Create a 5 day
Hmm.
lesson plan for me to work with this student in small group. And it will give you lessons for each day for you to work with those students. And so those are just a few ways that teachers can use it. It's very advantageous for teachers, and it saves them a lot of time. I was adamant about ensuring that teachers at my school used it And it was a big push for us for small group once
And
everybody on the administrative team got on board with
got
it.
on board, right? And I
Yes.
love to hear that because I remember some years ago, you gave all of the teachers or suggested a book for all of the teachers. I can't remember the title, but it was about um, 10 days or 10 strategies of teachers learning how to just kind of rest and
Hmm.
reflect and not take on too much. And I'm going to find that title. But my
Yes.
question in regards to that, when it comes to a reset, sometimes teachers, we get a little anxiety before school begins. Like
Hmm.
you said earlier, the planning, the collaborating, you're coming off from relaxing for the summer and now you have to put all these things on your plate. You have this schedule. What is a suggestion you could give to teachers before school even starts, before they have to actually consider a reset? What are some boundaries, per se, that
Hmm.
they can set before the school year begins so that they can start the school year on a positive note, maybe lessen some of the anxiety, if not all of the anxiety? What are some suggestions you could give them in regards um, as an AI supporter and
Yeah.
as a former admin.
Okay. So I would say you can even create a plan for resets and things like that using AI. But more importantly, before I even got into the world of AI and all of that, I'm huge on resting, resetting, reflecting, and
Hmm.
making sure that you're taking care of yourself, because if you
Yeah,
don't take care of yourself, not going to be good for your family, your students, your colleagues, nobody.
yeah, that's
And
right.
so yeah, you have to make sure that you take that time for yourself. You have to find what gives you peace. So even regardless of what it is, even if it's waking up an extra 10 minutes in the morning so that you can do some meditation before you
Hmm.
get your day started, or closing that screen down at night before you go to bed, which I had to learn that in therapy. Like,
Yes,
you
yes,
cannot scroll on Instagram and get all this crazy stuff, or Facebook, or wherever, and get all this crazy stuff in your mind and then expect to rest peacefully, because
yeah.
whatever you consume last, that's what's going to be on your mind when you
Hmm.
go to bed. So even doing some reading and reflections, shameless plug, grab Radiant Reflections from Amazon, which is the
Yes,
arts
yes.
which is the arts and
We're going to talk
affirmations
some more
journal
about that.
by yours truly. But that's what I found myself doing towards the end of the year, because I would go to bed with things, I would wake up jotting things down because my mind wasn't at ease to go to
Is,
sleep.
yeah,
So you have to put your mind at ease so that you can rest. And so I would find myself journaling, or even brain dumping everything that's
yeah.
in your mind, brain dumping it all. And at the time I used to write it all down. Now brain dumping it into chat, hit enter, let him organize it for me. And then it's not just scattered stuff all over the place. It's actually organized information that the next day I can pick up, and
Yeah,
it actually makes sense. It's not just a bunch of things jumbled down because I wrote them at the last minute. I put it in as a jumbled mess, but chat was able to organize it for me.
yeah.
And so just those little few things will be helpful for making sure that you are getting the proper rest.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. And you have helped me as well. I've had a few consultations with you that have been very
Mhm.
helpful. I think our first one, I had so many ideas running through my head. I just didn't know how to organize them. I really didn't know where I wanted to start. And
Mhm.
through your prompting and guidance, I was able to get some organization and really when I'm using AI, like you suggested, being as specific as possible with
Yes.
my prompts, and knowing that just because AI gave me a suggestion, I don't have to take that and run with it. I can
Right.
alter that if it doesn't suit my needs. And sometimes through conversations with other people, they think that one suggestion that AI gives, that is the end all say all, and it isn't. So I
No.
do love how you say be very, very specific. And if you really can't think of anything at that moment, just close it out for a moment, revisit it the next day, and
Mhm.
AI will pick it up right where you left it if you come up
Yeah.
with something where that needs to be refreshed. So I do love that. Yeah,
Exactly,
yeah,
exactly.
yeah.
And if one tool doesn't give you what you need, jump over to the other one.
Yes, yes. And with that being said, would you be willing to share what has been your favorite AI tool so far? And I know it can change, but what has
Yeah,
been your
I think
favorite?
my favorite is Claude. Well, I have a couple of favorites. So for writing and brainstorming and organizing systems, it's definitely Claude. And
Okay.
the reason I like Claude is because sometimes, sometimes we want to put so many irons in the fire. We want to do everything all at one time. And ChatGPT will usually say, "Oh, great idea. Let's see how we can make
Right,
that
right,
happen."
right.
But Claude has really pulled my coattail and say, "Hey, this doesn't even go with the rest of the stuff that you're saying. So you might want to consider not doing that right now. Like
Yeah,
it don't even go together. It doesn't blend."
yeah.
And so I appreciate the honesty and transparency of Claude
Mm-hmm.
because so, sometimes we want to do it all. We want to make everything happen all at one time. But as the saying goes, we have to eat one chunk of the elephant at a time. And so we Claude will pull you back and give you some reality checks.
Yeah.
There's another one, Tracy, that I want to mention that will also be good for teachers. It's one of my favorites, and it this one helped me save so much time because as educators, we have meeting after meeting after
Meeting
meeting
after
after meeting,
meeting.
meeting to have a meeting.
Yeah. I want to meet with you to let you know we're going to have a meeting.
Right, exactly. That's the world of education.
Yeah.
And so one Otter AI, and there are a number of note taking or transcribing tools, but Otter is the one that I started with, and it really helped me to not have to take notes throughout the whole meeting because it
Mm-hmm.
transcribed what each person says in the meeting.
Right.
And afterwards, it gives you a clean summary and the transcript. So you know who said
Mm-hmm.
what and it summarizes it. So if teachers are having like parent teacher conferences, this would be good so that you can send those follow-ups to say, "Hey, so glad you got to come in today. As a recap, this is what we discussed."
Mm-hmm.
And so that and particularly when you have those not so pleasant parents that you have to meet with, you want to make sure we're documenting everything. And so that is a good tool for documentation. Recap it so that the parent remembers what we said and there's
Mm-hmm.
no discrepancy at the end of the day. And
Exactly.
so we those are good tools for that's a good tool for recapping meetings or just keeping summaries of meetings that we've had.
Yeah, Otter has been another one of my go-to tools as well. Like you said,
Mhm.
when I'm taking notes, I know I may be forgetting some key information or just being able to go back and reflect on what the meeting was about. And I do love how Otter will give, like you said, the summary, those bullets.
Yeah,
And it's
yeah.
always right on point with that. So yeah, thank you for
Mhm.
sharing that.
You're
I
welcome.
as we prepare to wind up our conversation, I have a
Mhm.
few rapid fire questions for you.
Okay.
Okay. Coffee or tea?
T.
One AI tool you can't live without.
Claude.
One
Mm.
book every woman should read.
Ooh. Um, that's a good one. What one book?
You
Every
mentioned it
woman.
earlier.
Radiant Reflections, the
Yes,
Arts and
ma'am.
Affirmation Journal. Look,
We
and
would
while
love
you're
to see
at
the
it,
cover of it.
oh yeah, sure. That's the
Ye-
cover.
Yes, so hold that
And
book. I'm going to finish these rapid fire questions and then I want you
and
to
it's
tell
on
us more about your
Amazon.
book.
Look, and get the ebook also.
Yes. Okay. All right. So morning routine or night routine?
Night routine. I'm a night owl.
Okay. One word that describes this season of your life.
Growth.
Woo, I love it. I love it. So we want
Yeah.
to now hear more about your book. We want to hear more
Okay.
about the book, the workbook, where we can find the book, and
Awesome.
how the book was birthed.
Okay. So this book is Radiant Reflections. It's the Arts and Affirmations Journal. And so there are themes throughout the book. And so the one I happen to turn to says overcoming worry. And so each book has a affirmation and a scripture. And then on the next page, it has a reflection that talks about what you're thankful for, why you're inspired, the best part of your day. And so there are several um, themes throughout the book: self worth, empathy, progress over perfection, courage and leadership. So lots of different themes throughout this book. And this can be purchased at Amazon, and it's also in my Instagram stand store. My stand store is linked in my Instagram bio, so you can go there to check out that link. And also, I have an ebook that's called Simplify Life with AI. It's a practical guide for busy women. And so this talks about my 5 pillars of saving time, which are meal planning, home organization, work productivity, wellness, and also personal finance.
Love it. I love it. If there is one message you would like for every woman listening to today for them to remember, what would that be?
I would say don't let your comfort keep you from your calling.
Mhm.
Yeah. Make
Yeah.
sure you are courageous enough to jump out.
Yes. I love that.
Thank you. Thank you.
We can't close out without everyone knowing how to connect with you. So could you share
All
with
right.
us again how people can connect with you with for your services, for speaking engagements? You share with your book and your ebook. Can you share a little more of how to connect, where we can find you?
Yes. Yes. So I'm on all social media platforms at Ignite with Inga Parker. And all of my links for connections are in my bios. And so my stand store is linked. But if you just happen to go to the stand store, it's stand store /Inga Parker. And so there you will find ways to schedule consultation calls. You will also see my ebook there, and my Radiant Reflections book is on Amazon.
All right. Well, Dr. Parker, thank you so much for giving me your time for the podcast interview. I'm sure everyone will begin to use AI more confidently, but I do want to thank everyone for tuning in, watching another episode of Hey Girl, Hey podcast. This is a place where we have safe conversations. We have conversations about real life, how to apply situations within our life to make them just a little bit easier, but also to support one another. So if you haven't checked out our other episodes, you can do so on YouTube. Facebook and Instagram and Spotify. And again, thank you, Dr. Parker, for being a guest on the Hey Girl, Hey podcast. Everyone, have an amazing day, and we will look
Yeah.
forward to you tuning in to another episode. Have an amazing day.
Thank you.